times have changed now, and I think people are proud to be Salvadorian. It's okay to say you're Salvadorian. It's okay to say I'm Salvadorian, but it's been a long road to get to where we are right now.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
Yeah. All right.
Bam! El Salvador and Mexico in the house.
Aquí estamos juntos.
Boom. Jose Velasquez in the house. All right. I know that on Instagram you go as
Hoozay.
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 Yeah, so I had like a hard time. I'm like telling Bernie like, hey, we're going to have Hoozay. Come. But then I put two and two together and I was like, well, his name is Jose. That's why. Is it?
Jose. So Hoozay started back in high school. My French teacher, I was a fool in class. And so she would always be like, Hoozay, pay attention, Hoozay. And so people started calling me Hoozay, like in French, Jose in French. Okay. And so when I started doing comedy, at first I was Jose V, but there's a lot of Jose's in the world. And so I'm going to change it different. So when it's on a flyer or something, it just looks different. And so I started spelling it Hoozay, Hoozay.
Okay.
And so that just stuck.
And it stuck.
Yeah, and I just used that for social media and everything else.
And now that's like your brand.
That's the brand. That's
okay,
the
it's not like your brand.
It is.
It is your brand.
It's the brand. Yeah.
Jose, pay attention. Hey, you got to take the, what's it called? Thank the teacher that made that happen.
Miss Garcia.
Yeah.
She's long gone.
She's long gone.
She was up there, and we gave her a hard time, man.
Pobrecita. I could just imagine, brother.
It was crazy.
So you said that was in high school?
That was high school, yeah.
And what high school was that?
Dominguez High.
Oh, so then you grew up in Compton.
Yeah.
Oh, and how was that?
Oh man, we moved to Compton the day of the riots. The day of the riots, we were moving in stuff. I remember us plugging in the TV.
So you picked a hell of a day, huh?
Yeah. Watching the news. The building in the news was literally the building down the street from us. It was the cleaners, and it was on the news because it was burning. And I'm like, that's the one right here. Like, oh, shoot. But yeah, the day of the riots, we moved to Compton.
And you were how old?
Oh, dude, I must have been, it was what, 4th grade. So how old was that? Shoot. What, 7, 8?
So you're how old right now?
41.
You're almost my age. You're 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
You're still young. So you're
Estamos
jóvenes. So then you're a 90s baby.
Yeah.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah, man.
So then you had a real childhood.
Yeah.
Now people are going to be like, hey, F that guy. No, I'm just kidding. That's because we didn't have phones. We didn't have any of that.
We saw text messaging come up like, oh, what? We saw the cell phones coming up like, what? It was a crazy time, I think, for us, all the technology that was dumped on us. The internet. I remember first logging into.
These kids won't know nothing about that. And then you had to wait. Yeah. And then it would make the noise. And then you would connect like 10 minutes later.
You would get AOL hours on the CD that would come in the mail.
Man, shit. That's crazy. So how was it growing up in Compton?
You know what? I think I lived a sheltered life. I didn't join any gangs. I had older cousins, and they would always like give me the heads up, like, "Hey, this is what you got to watch out for. This is what you got to do." Even like, because growing up, I'm Salvadorian. In that time, like it wasn't cool to be Salvadorian, right? You don't tell your people you're Salvadorian. And I remember my cousins telling me that, like, don't tell people in school you're Salvadorian. Why?
Why? I like pupusas.
Yeah, but at that time, growing up, like it wasn't the it thing to say you were Salvadorian. I remember like being in school one time, I was like, "Oh, you just don't want to say you're Mexican." I'm like, "But I'm not."
You were like, "No, hay pupusas, not tacos."
Yeah, and so that my cousins would always give me like heads up, and my cousins are all like graduates and from college, and they were on the straight and narrow path, and so I give them a lot of credit for guiding me the right place and always giving me heads up, like, hey.
So you were the only Salvadorian in your little group, or like with your friends?
For a long time, yeah. It's funny. There was a friend of ours who I knew in high school. We both went to high school together, had same classes, same friends, and we never knew we were Salvadorian until like after we graduated. I had a party at my house, and he met my parents, and he goes, "Hey, you're Salvadorian?" I'm like, yeah, bro. He goes, I'm Salvadorian too. We went years knowing each other, not knowing we're Salvadorian because we were always kind of reserved in school. You know,
But you guys never said like, hey, like we're hungry. Let's go. I don't know, eat pupusas. Like that never came up.
It never came up.
Oh, bro.
But I'm telling you, during that time, like you wouldn't tell people like, oh, I'm Salvadorian. Like that just wasn't it.
Okay, so my question to you is, you didn't want to say it because of the other demographics, because there was a lot of
There was tension. There was tension. Yeah, there was tension between Mexicanos and Salvadoreños. I think now it's less, way less than before. But there was that tension of Mexicanos and Salvadoreños, and so obviously being in LA, you know, there's a lot more Mexican population here.
Man, we're pretty deep here.
Yeah, no, you guys are deep, and so there was that tension. I think now times have changed now, and I think people are proud to be Salvadorian, and it's okay to say you're Salvadorian. And so I'm always trying to, like, you know, represent and put us on the map. Say, hey, yeah, we are Salvadorian. We have a different culture. We have different.
That's
foods.
What caught my attention on your page. If I'm being honest,
the Salvadoreño. Yeah.
Because this is the time where we're proud.
We are
it's okay.
It's okay. Right. That's
you know,
we're okay. It's okay to say you're Salvadoreño. It's okay to say I'm Salvadorian. But it's been a long road to get to where we are right now. And I think the younger generation, you know, before there wasn't no T-shirts because it's Salvi, Salvadoreño, right? The most we got was a Selecta jersey, right? Like that was it.
A Cienfuegos jersey?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But now, you know, you have the shirts that say Salvi, you know, Salvadoreño, pupusa diet, or, you know, whatever it is. And it's like, that wasn't, you know, I didn't have those T-shirts growing up. And so now I'm like, hell yeah, I'll wear the shirt. Hell yeah, I'll represent. So
knowing what all that stuff that you went through and you being more reserved with saying that you are Salvadorian, how do you feel now with all this movement?
Oh, I'm proud, dude. I'm excited. One, to like, not like, because I have a platform, right? And I'm always like, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm wearing a Salvi shirt, a jacket, even if it's not a Salvi event, just like a little emblem to remind people like, oh shoot, yeah, that guy's Salvadorian. And I feel proud because we've come a long way. You know, even El Salvador has come a long way. Now, you know, it's one of the safest places to go to. And it's like, it was never like that before. And so it's a whole different time for the Salvadoreños. And yeah, man, I'm just, you know, excited to see what the next chapter brings for the Salvador.
And now that you bring up El Salvador, do you think it's safer because of Bukele?
I think so.
Or because it's just different because it just has evolved? Or is it because Bukele is smashing on everybody and making it much better?
Bukele definitely made a change, and, you know, it's going in the right path. I was there year before last, and you can just see the difference. I mean, we're there walking around like nothing, right? Like, we're tourists, really, and we felt safe. You know, we felt, okay, you know, nothing's going to happen. I'm sure there's places where it's dangerous still, like just if you go to L.A., right?
Yeah, you're right.
If you come to L.A. and you go to 6th Street, you know, Skid Row, you're going to think this place is horrible. Like, what is, I'm never coming to L.A. But, you know, if you go to different parts of L.A. and you see it, it's like, oh, okay, this is a nice town. I think the same thing with different countries. But when we were in El Salvador, you could feel a different, you know, things have changed for the better. Even the shopping centers, people are, you know.
It's just safer overall.
Safer overall, and I think a lot to do with it with the president, and he's doing, you know, what he has to do, and getting criticism here and there, pero.
Yeah, I had one of my gym buddies at the gym. You know, we're sitting in the sauna, and he's like, you know, I have tattoos. So, you know, I'm always interested in different cultures.
You can't go.
He said, oye, amigo. Like, he turned around and he's like, nunca vayas a El Salvador. Por favor. That's what he told me. And I was just like, ¿pero por qué? He's like, tienes tatuajes. He's like, el momento que. And then he just scared the shit out of me. So I'm just like, but I want to go to Ecuador. I want to go to Salvador. I want to just, you know. But it's like, he's like, no, don't do it. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay. Like,
I think a lot of it has to do, like, that's almost a deterrent now. Like, oh, don't, you know, if you have tattoos, don't. But, you know, like I said, we were there. I didn't feel anybody like looking at us, although we don't have tattoos or, but I don't think it's to that degree where like, oh, they see you or like, oh, come here. who want to question you.
I got like sleeves though. Like, I stand out like a sore thumb. They're like, oh shit, no, arrest that guy.
That guy right there.
That guy, get him. So, all right. So it's but if you don't have tattoos, then I guess it's.
Yeah, no, I think overall, I think right now it's a tourist country, and I think they're welcoming to tourists. I think if you're in the wrong part of town with tattoos, then maybe stop and question.
Well, it's just like,
but if you're at El Tunco having a good time, I think you're
safe.
You're safe. Yeah,
if I ever go, I'm gonna go with you.
Vamos, we'll go together.
So I'll be like, vámonos. You know what I mean? I feel safe.
We'll show you around.
Shit. So, growing up, is there anybody like in particular that you looked up to in comedy?
Oh man, in comedy, there's a lot of comedians. But see, like, there was no Salvadoreños doing comedy, so there was nobody like, that I would say, oh, that guy, I like what he's doing. A lot of the comedians I would look up to is, the big names, obviously, and then I started meeting the Latino comedy circuit, and I meet all the other guys. I'm like, oh, these guys are funny, dude. Like, where you guys been? I felt like I came in as an outsider, getting to meet all these Latino comedians. And like, I was like, oh man, these guys are hilarious. And I remember one of the first Salvadoran comedians that I met was Marcela Arguello.
Okay.
And I saw her on stage, and we started talking about, why, you're Salvadorian? Holy shit. Like, I thought nobody else was Salvadorian in the comedy game. And yeah, then I started meeting other comedians like Nelson, and now there's a whole bunch of other young Salvadoreños doing comedy. We met this kid, Chacon in Arizona, Houston.
Okay.
Funny kid, Salvadoreño. Here, the JT Stir, Walter Reyes, y cuál otro? A bunch of Salvadoreños doing their thing.
How does that make you feel?
Fernando Panda, like all those guys. I'm proud. I'm like, all right, we're coming up. We're deep.
We're now. All right, cool.
We got 1 Salvadoran, 2 Salvadoran, 3 Salvadoran, 4 Salvadoran, 5 Salvadoran. It's like, okay, we're doing it. And every one of them is different. They're all different in their comedy style. So it's like, okay, I see it. I love it. Ahí vamos, poquito a poquito.
Poco a poco, and I think what you experienced growing up, that must feel good, bro. Like
it really does.
Like, now you're walking around with Salvi stuff, and like now you're starting to see more people that you could identify with.
Right. And
it's like, okay, like, because our language is a little bit different.
It's
same, but different. You know what exactly. I mean? So now you feel like you could, there's more, and you could, there's people you could identify with. And
well, not only think, like, even just having my platform and showing other people, like, hey, we're out here, we're doing it. People doing different things. Salvadoreños is like, hey, we're out here too, and that's always my thing. Like, hey, we're here too. Hey, don't forget about it.
Hey, aquí
estamos. We exist too, and so that's always the thing for me is like, reminding people like, hey, we're here too. Especially in LA. I feel like in LA we get lumped into one group, right? All of us, the Latinos. We're just Latinos or Latinx, como dicen la gente.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Or you guys are all Mexican.
Or Mexican, right.
Like, no, not Latinos is not just Mexican.
Yeah.
All right? Like, there's Ecuadorians, Salvadorians. It's like, you can't just get that blanket.
One of my jokes is like, oh, you're Salvadorian. It's like, oh, what part of Mexico is that? Growing up, that's all I would hear. Like, oh, you're Salvadorian. Oh, what part of Mexico?
But now you're utilizing your platform.
Yeah.
To let it be known, like, no, it's his own thing. It's his own country,
Yeah.
So this is where we're from. These are our values. These are our culture. This is our food, and this is how we talk. And
Yeah.
And you're just putting it out there. Just putting it out there on the map.
Yeah. Hopefully, there's another younger generation that sees it and says, yeah, it's okay to be, Salvador. It's okay to say que somos salvadoreños.
And I think having these type of platforms and, just letting people know, you don't know who's watching. That you might help.
Right. No, right. And that's the thing.
Another Salvadorian kid that might be like, hey, I want to be a comedian. I want to be, but I don't.
That's exactly it. Yeah. That's exactly it. And that's why I like to showcase different types of artists, people doing their thing, just to remind people like, hey, we have Salvadoreños that are dentists, doctors, filmmakers, artists, rappers, everything. just to show other people like, hey, oh shoot, like, you know, it's okay to say I'm sorry, but it's okay to talk about our culture. It's okay to talk about our unique experience growing up, right? Because everybody has that experience of growing up Latino, but I feel like Salvadoreños and every different, you know, ethnic group has their own kind of, you know, different identity, and we grew up almost the same, but
Absolutely.
different,
Yeah.
you know, and so I feel like those experiences are relatable to somebody.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, not
Absolutely.
just the general group, but unique experiences.
Absolutely. And now that you bring up growing up, like for me, I'm first generation, but I'm Mexican. So how was your experience? Are you first generation, second generation, or
First generation. So, and see, that's the other thing growing up Salvadoreño, right? You have the older Salvadorians who are like, oh, vos no sos Salvadoreño.
Oh, man. We have that too, bro.
Like, but really, if you know, we are, those are our roots, right? And if we start forgetting our roots, like, okay, we start losing that identity that, you know, I think makes us unique. And I think it's important for us, you know, as that first generation to say, no, you know, I am Mexican, I am Salvadorian, you know, and keep those traditions going. And, you know, it's a weird thing with us Latinos, like, oh, es que vos no sos mexicano, vos no sos salvadoreño, right? And I think, you know, it's showing our kids like, hey, this is where our roots are. This is where we, you know,
Exactly.
you know, I think that's important. And I feel even like with the Mexican, like my friends are all Mexican, right? They were never ashamed to say, oh, I'm Mexican, or to say, oh, I'm Mexican, even though they were born here, you know. I think for some younger generation, it's hard to say, oh, they always say like, oh, soy salvadoreño, pero nací aquí. Right, like there's always that.
They have to add that little extra,
they have to
like
add that extra.
Yeah.
Pero nací aquí, like, pero soy de aquí, and so I feel like now we have the joke I have is that there's different types of Salvadoreños. There's Salvadoreños and there's Salvis, right? The Salvis are like the Salvadoran American that was
the
born
ones
here.
that were raised here.
Yeah, that were raised
The
here.
Salvadoreños
The
are-
Salvadoreños que
Okay.
somos de aquí, pero mi mamá del Salvador.
And how was that growing up? Like, did you grow up with both of your parents?
Both my parents, yeah.
And how,
Both proud Salvadoreños. You know, I grew up, so we grew up in Compton. The Compton house for us was like the center point for all the family members to come in that were coming from El Salvador, coming here to the U.S. And so we had a lot of family coming through in that house. So we had.
So we are the same.
Yeah, no. In that house, like people lived in the garage, people lived in the back. It was just.
Oh, yes. We are the same.
Yeah. It was a rotation. I was the youngest out of the group, right? Like I was the baby. So I saw all these people coming through from El Salvador and just, you know, with that thick accent, you know, my tios coming in. And so I grew up with that. And so, you know, seeing that firsthand, it was like, oh, okay, that's así somos. And so, yeah, no, the same, but different.
Same, but different. But kind of
different.
same because Mexicans, it's one household y todos los tíos y las tías, they all come and, you know, that's how, damn, how many people can you fit in one bedroom?
Oh, dude. We used to
A
have,
lot.
We had one bathroom in our Compton house.
Man.
And then I remember we all had to have our toilet papers.
Oh,
So you would you go to the bathroom, you go get your toilet paper before you go in, because there might not be toilet paper there.
So you had your own little stash.
You had your own little stash of toilet paper
Man.
to share the one bathroom. And in the mornings, we had to time it out. Because if you're trying to get out of the house at a certain time,
You're like, oh, no,
you got to
no.
make sure, who's going in first? Who's going to be there? Oh, my tío there, he takes forever. Make sure you're there by 6:30.
And going through all that, does that make you appreciate things a little bit a little bit more? Like, look, I grew up this way, and I've done this with my life, and I've done X, Y, and Z. But now I look back, and I'm like, man.
Oh, yeah,
This
for
is-
sure. Yeah, no,
you
I
know?
think, and both of my parents are hardworking people, and it took, you know, a long time for them to get their own house. And, you know, I remember that point, like where we moved to Linwood, and I was like, oh shoot, we have our own house. Like this is a
step.
big jump.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And it was, you know, my dad, he drank a lot coming up and growing up, and he suffered from alcoholism. And I remember us moving to Linwood, from Compton to Linwood, which is only like 2 miles.
Or like 2 blocks away.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It separates on Long Beach. Like, you know.
But it made the world of difference having our own space, you know, that we called home. And I remember coming home one day and seeing my dad gardening. I had never seen my dad in the garden, like never. And he was in the front yard, you know, taking dirt out, making sure the flowers were nice. And I'm like, what? And from that, like that point, it just changed him. He stopped drinking. He became a whole different person.
No way.
Yeah. And it was like, oh man, like, you know, we never talked about like what he was going through during the time we were, you know, growing up. But that difference of having our own space just changed him. And I was like, oh shoot.
And he stopped drinking completely.
Yeah, he stopped drinking. He hasn't drank in a long time.
Oh man.
Yeah. And
that's a big change.
It's a huge change. Yeah. And I think that really opened my eyes to like, oh man, this, you know, as Latinos, we grew up drinking or, you know, that's the life. And for a long time, I was scared. Like, I don't want to get a habit. I don't want to, you know, if that happened to my dad, like, I don't want to fall into that. And so for a long time, I would 1 beer, 2 beers. I'm good.
Because we grew up that way. Like, we all have that uncle.
Yeah.
Hey, mijo. Like, when we were little, right? I mean, at least for me. Like, mira, tómale. And I'm like, I'm fucking 7. Like, you know,
part of the culture.
You know, and I'm just like, I thought I was so cool, but it's like, oh, dude, don't do that. You know, I won't do that shit to my kids. Like, hey, have a little drink. Nah, man. But, I mean, that's how we grew up, and I guess that's how it was.
Yeah, no.
You know,
well,
at least for me, but.
For us too, that, you know, parties, people just having a good time. And, you know, a lot of it, you know, they don't know when to stop. They just keep going. And
then you stop when you pass out.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. Everybody's like, oh, that sounds like a good time, but yeah, I don't know. Not as an adult. But you know, it is what it is. But was your dad one of those, like, you know, I could only speak for myself, but my dad was a super machista. Is that something common, like in the Salvadoran culture? Like,
for sure.
Aquí yo mando, y aquí se hace lo que yo diga. La.
For sure.
It's common?
Yeah, for sure. And I was telling you the change of my dad, and I noticed that when we moved, he changed as a person too, because then it was not just him, it was us, right? Like my mom and everybody, because that was our house, our home. So it was, you know, decisions were made as like a group. And so I saw him change as a person and be more open. And it's crazy to think like, oh, that just happened, you know. It almost felt like one day to another, but, you know, it was gradual.
What do you think happened? Now I'm just curious to see, like, if
my honest opinion, and I've never talked to my dad about it, but I think for a long time he suffered like from depression, just, you know, coming here and not being able to, you know, like I said, we were a big group in a small house, you know, for a long time, and I think that took a toll on him. And I think when we made that leap or that change, it just opened up, you know, a whole new world for him. He's like, no, you know what, this is.
He probably felt like, look, I did this, and I did this for my family, and
yeah,
this is where we're at, and I'm the head here, and
now we need to.
And I did this, and now I need to change.
Yeah, and it was that little difference.
That's dope.
You know, and I think in the Latino community, you know, I don't think we talk about depression, and we don't talk about those things. You know,
exactly.
it's a no-no. It's a no-no.
Absolutely, but see, we're taught to not deal with it. We are taught to be like, hey, cállate, sé hombre,
no estés llorando.
No estés llorando, y no llores, cabrón, and this and that, and everything gets suppressed, right?
Yeah.
And then all that shit fucking comes out later when you're an adult. Like, oh, man, fuck.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it's like, no, it's okay. It's okay to,
It's okay to talk about it. It's okay, you know, to share your feelings.
Yeah. And you know what? I always say this. It's okay to not feel okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Just process things, you know, and it's okay, dude. It's not that, you know, but growing up.
Is that machismo, right?
Yeah. And like, hey. ¿Estás llorando, cabrón?
I'm the man. I got this.
My dad will be like, te voy a hacer llorar de verdad, hijo de la chingada. Like, I'm going to fucking spank you.
But I think
I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, I'm already crying.
They take on that pressure, like, you know, like, oh, I have to do this. Yeah, it's me. but it's a family thing. We do this together, right? You know,
Yeah,
but
I think now he's learning.
yeah, no, I think my dad's come a long way. He's a whole different person, and you know, even like, you know, hanging out with him and just having a good time is like a whole different, you know.
For me, it's been really slow. Like I've gotten some. It's improved, but it's still like, damn, we still got a long way to go. Like, you know, he's gotten better, but it's like, man, you know, I try.
And it's fun because my dad's funny, and I like even the videos that I do like on social media. Like I try to pull it out of him and just make him feel comfortable to be funny and just be out there. And he's outgoing, like he can sing, like, but he would never like do that in public. And sometimes we like pull it out of him and he'll start doing it. But yeah, no, he's a whole different.
And like, what does he say about you doing comedy and stuff like that?
Oh, he's excited. I did the Laugh Factory not too long ago, and I did it in Spanish. And I had never done it in Spanish. They've seen me do comedy for a long time. I started doing comedy in my parents' backyard. And so they would be there all the time because my mom would sell pupusas. My dad would sell the beer. And he would sell.
It was a family affair.
It was a family affair. Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So you would set up the chairs and everything?
Oh, dude, it was okay. So the backyard comedy.
Man.
So my friend Juan, to his credit, so I started doing comedy, and I couldn't get like my own show anywhere. Like none of the clubs was like gonna give me a night. And my friend Juan was like, "Why don't we just do it in your mom's backyard?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, yeah, we'll do comedy under the stars." And I was like, "What? That doesn't make no sense." And then one day, my mom had us do a cement slab because she started a daycare in her house, and she wanted a cement slab for the toys. And so we did the cement slab, and her backyard is huge. And when I put the slab down, where we did it, it looked like a stage. And so this was months after my friend Juan had told me about his idea. I shot it down. I was like, "Nah, how are we gonna do in the backyard? That's not gonna work." But we set the slab down. And I was looking at it, oh, this looks like a stage. And I told him, we should do backyard comedy. He's like, that's what I've been saying. And so we started the first one. And his thing was always like, we got to make it look like a show, right? You know, we got to make it look legit because we're charging people $10 to get in. And I knew a lot of comedians, you know, who were doing the thing, who were funny, who like I had seen like, oh, these guys are funny. Like, you know, my cousins would come. They would love these guys. And so my friend Juan built like the first background. So we had a background for the stage. We had the chairs set up. We had food set up. It was a whole thing. It was
the whole nine.
It looked like a
open
legit
bar. Oh,
well, that was the thing after. So we had the first show, success. I think it was about 70 people, mostly my cousins.
70 people?
Yeah.
In the backyard
in the
Linwood?
Backyard. Yeah.
Damn. All right. Okay.
We rocked it, dude. It was, you know, the comedians did great. My cousins loved it. My dad sold beer. My mom sold pupusas. Everybody came home happy, like, oh, you know, we got to do this all the time. And so we started doing a bunch of them. And then people caught on. There's a backyard. I'll just bring beer. You know, it's a backyard party. And my dad's like, dile que no traigan cerveza porque no están comprando. No me está saliendo. So
he's like, no. Aquí se venden a $3.
Yeah. And then he would start selling shots like
no
at the
way.
Yeah.
He's a hustler. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And so the backyard comedy just became a whole thing. We had a bunch of comedians coming through, and it was crazy. And then now, like, them see me, you know, do all the stuff that I've been doing. I just recorded a 1-hour comedy special.
No way.
Yeah. And they were there, and they saw it, and you know, they were like, "Oh man, this is."
And where's the comedy special gonna come out on?
So right now we shot it, it's edited, and we're shopping it around right now. So in a few weeks we'll know where it lands, but it should be exciting.
Shit, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be crazy. And so they were there, front and center that night. You know, they saw me do my thing, and cut to, you know, I just did the Laugh Factory, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna do it in Spanish. I'd never done it in Spanish. I was like, you know, I think I could do it in Spanish. I'm gonna try it. So I'm trying it at the Laugh Factory, like, oh, a ver qué. And I did it, recorded it, and took it to my dad. And I say, "Apá, I'm gonna show you a video." And dude, he was watching it, cracking up.
No
the
way.
tear in his eye, like, oh shoot, like, you know, we did something. we did a movie.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was so crazy to see. I'm getting teary-eyed because it's exciting.
It's okay, brother.
No, yeah, it was crazy to see him watch me do comedy, do all these things that we've been doing, but doing it in Spanish where he got the jokes. It was like, it was a whole different thing, dude.
You think that moment made him feel like, oh man,
I think
I did a great job with my son, or look, everything that I went through, it's all my hard work, dedication is being manifested into my kids. Like,
I think it was a proud moment just watching him watch me get teary-eyed and laughing, right? Like, I was like, oh shoot, like this is hitting him in a different way. He didn't say nothing. He didn't say like,
yeah, he won't.
Yeah, he won't. But he didn't have to. But just watching him do that and watching him, watch me, and it's like, okay, we're doing something. We're getting somewhere.
Yes, you are, and you should be proud.
Yeah,
because this shit you made him.
Why are you making me cry on
You
the
know?
JR? Jesus.
That's what we do here. We keep it real.
We keep it real.
But the funny part about our parents is that my dad will never tell me how proud he is.
Yeah. No.
So he goes and he tells my uncle, and then my uncle tells me. But he won't.
They'll tell the whole family.
He's gonna tell everybody, and I think they earned that right though. Before I
Yeah.
would tell him, hey, but I was a knucklehead growing up, So then I feel that this moment is for my parents.
Yeah. For sure.
Wait. So
For sure.
So I let him know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, ¿sabes qué, man? Go tell the fucking world. I don't give a shit. Just this moment is for them.
Yeah, I know it
And
is
it's beautiful.
There's a picture. So in the
You almost made me cry, bro.
we're getting deep.
Oh,
We're getting deep.
Shit.
There's a picture of part of the special. I tell the story when my Jesus Christ. On the special, I tell the story of my mom taking a hit in the eye the day of one of the days of the show. So we were in the backyard getting ready. My buddy Juan had built like this crazy setup. It had towers. We had 2 towers with my
so you
face
made
on
it
it.
like legit.
Like this, it looked like a
Do you
theater.
have pictures?
Oh yeah. We got
Send them
pictures.
to me so like we could put them on the.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
This looked legit, like with a theater. It looked like a special. And Juan built these 2 towers, right? And my mom was cleaning, and it's in the special. I tell the story, but she fell and busted her eye right before the show, and she went to the hospital.
Oh, to get stitches?
She gets stitches, 5 stitches across her eye. Like a boxer, this part just bleeds.
Man.
And so she convinced the doctors to let her go. They thought she had a concussion. She shows up, makes pupusas for the show with her, eye busted. She's got her bandage here. And there's this picture of us on stage because I brought her on stage that day. And she's like, just kind of taking a bow. And I'm going, this is my mom. And at the special, I brought them on stage at the very end. And I don't know spoilers, but but they send me the clip, and they had a picture of my parents on stage, and it was like from that backyard to the big stage, and it's like those 2 pictures of my mom on stage with me, like
With the stitches.
yeah.
Shout out to your moms, bro.
Yeah, no,
Man.
they from day one they've always been supportive of what I've been doing, and no matter what I did in life, they were always like, okay, pues, a ver cómo nos sale.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't have much support because it was like, it's kind of a troublemaker, But now they're like, holy shit, this guy, So now they support, but dude, you had all those supports at the beginning, and that's fucking dope.
Yeah, no. I think even in my comedy career, it's always been support of my family and friends. When I started doing comedy, this is way back when, I just found VHSs in the garage of me doing stand-up, and it's from 2002. I started doing bringer clubs.
Oh shit!
And if you're not familiar with bringer clubs, they're comedy shows where they put you on stage if you bring friends, right? Like if you
don't bring friends, you do not get on.
Yeah, if you don't bring friends, they're not putting you on. And so I started at the Comedy Union way back in like 2002, but my friends would show up every week, and so I would get stage time every week because my friends would come and support. Even though it was the same jokes, they already knew, but they would come and hang out.
They could recite your own jokes.
Yeah.
They were like, I know what's coming next.
You missed the Compton joke. But yeah, my friends from the beginning, have always been there to support. And if I didn't have that support group, like I wouldn't be
Are they
here.
still your friends? And what do they say now?
Oh yeah. No, it's a core group of us from high school that's just kind of been there the whole time, and
So how does that make you feel? That they helped you with the staging in the backyard. They did this. They will go support you. And now that you're doing big stuff.
Ahí vamos.
So like, how does that make you feel? Like, man, they were there since the beginning. They believed.
They believe. Yeah, no, they're hardcore believers in what I was doing, and I'm forever indebted to them. Like, their support and
So you keep friends like that, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, those are the friends for life.
The good, the bad, the ugly, the everything.
For
they're
sure.
there.
Yeah, no, I think that core group we've done a lot together, and those are true friends.
How was it transitioning from being at your mom's backyard to actually performing at the Laugh Factory and these other spots?
Yeah, so the backyard show was like our show, but I was always doing like the clubs, the Laugh Factory, the Ice House, the Improv. I had done those, but it was never my show there, right? I would just be there to do a set, 10, 15 minutes or whatever. And so I had been doing comedy for a long time, but those shows were different because that was my show. I had control. I would host it. I would bring up whoever I thought was funny, and so I had control. And so that was a whole different thing. And we had, of course, had pupusas.
Dude, you cannot not have pupusas, bro.
Yeah, that we now that version of the show has transitioned to the Comedy Pupusas Beer, and so that's.
I was gonna ask you about that. So how did that? So that's how that came about.
That's how that came about, yeah. And so we stopped doing it for a long time. We stopped doing the backyard shows. My mom, she had knee surgery, and she couldn't stand for a long time. And making pupusas for a large group is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And so we stopped doing it for a long time. And I had kids, and everything else. And then during the pandemic, we I started doing videos online on TikTok and Instagram. And I'd always been doing videos, like we were talking about with Martin Rizzo. We did videos on YouTube, but they would never go anywhere. Vine,
Oh, Vine?
Yeah. we would put out a bunch of content, but nothing would go viral. I think my first viral clip on YouTube was my stand-up, my Salvadoran clip.
Okay.
And that went viral, and that was it. Nothing else for a long time. But we would keep doing videos, keep putting stuff out, and nothing. And then when TikTok came out during the pandemic, I was like, I'm gonna start doing videos on TikTok. Yeah, and that just started gaining steam. It was going and getting views and stuff was going viral. I'm like, oh shoot, like there's something here. So I really started focusing on the content. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start doing content. And I tried a bunch of stuff, right? Food reviews, business reviews, funny voiceovers, skits, whatever I thought was interesting or funny to me, I would do it. And stuff just started picking up. Then I started doing it on Instagram. Same thing, started picking up. I'm like, oh shoot, there's an audience here. And a lot of people started really, relating to the Salvadoran stuff.
Yes.
And even in my stand-up way back when, I always include, I'm Salvadoran. And so I started doing content with Salvadoran culture and stuff like that. And that picked up steam. And then right when we got out of quarantine, I was like, I wonder if people would come out to a comedy show. Like, I think people are ready. People are still wearing masks and stuff. And what if we do it outdoors? I told my friend, Carlos Lomo was one of the first ones, Trenton Stewart Jones. I said, hey guys, I'm gonna do a comedy show, but there's no money involved. It's just for free.
It's a freebie. It's a freebie,
guys. We're not making money. And and so I hit up this brewery, Brujeria, and I said, hey, can we use your space? We'll bring a food truck. And What's That You're Cooking was one of the first pupusa trucks out of the pandemic to join us. And we're gonna have pupusas, comedy, and beer. That's the idea. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. How many people are you expecting? I was like, well, I don't know.
We're about to find out.
Yeah, we're about to find out. I'm gonna put the word out on social media and see, And he goes, oh, okay, we have some benches and stuff outside. We'll set you up. Put the word out. 300 people showed up the first night. 300 people in this parking lot.
You weren't expecting that.
We weren't expecting that. The pupusa sold out. The beer was going like crazy. And then people showed up to the show. And I was like, oh, shoot, they're ready. People are ready.
So you think all these social media platforms just helped you just...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How influential is that?
Oh, dude,
it's a game changer?
A game changer. And every comedian I run into, like, you got to get on social media, bro. Get your audience, start promoting, start putting yourself out there. Because it's a real game changer. I've been doing comedy for a long time, and social media now is, it's the equivalent. If you're a business and you get Google AdWords, right? And if you're a business and you use Google AdWords, you know what that means and how much of a difference that can make. You put a budget behind it, get the right people, and then you'll get your audience. TikTok and Instagram is basically Google AdWords for free.
Absolutely.
It's you come up with whatever content for your audience, and you'll get the word out, and people will start coming to you, right? And so I keep telling people, like, you got to get on social media. Because for me, like I've been doing comedy for a long time, never at the success that where I'm at now. But when I got on social media, I started seeing that. I was like, oh, people really like this. Maybe we can give them more. Like,
and you make it relatable because now you have your community, you have the Salvadorian crowd, like you have the Mexican crowd. Now you're just relatable, especially in the Salvadoran community, because now you're like, hey, I'm Salvadorian.
Yeah.
And now people can relate to that.
And people started seeing us like, oh, shoot, I didn't even know there was a Salvadoran community.
Yeah, and now you can reach the masses with just a press of a button. Like, you just put share and boom,
Dude, crazy levels. So, like, last year we did what's coming up again this year is the Dodger Stadium, right? And so Dodgers decided to do the first Salvadoran Heritage Night.
Oh, I seen that
last year. And so AFTRA is a nonprofit organization, and they work with kids in Central America. And so they got tapped to be a part of it, and they reached out to me and said, hey, can we work something to get the word out? Because we have some special tickets that, if people buy these tickets, it benefits the kids in El Salvador and Central America. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude, let's do it. We did one video on social media. Say, hey guys, we're having Salvadoran Heritage Night, blah, blah, blah. Dude,
shit went
crazy. One video, right? Everybody was sharing it. It's like, oh, Salvadoran Heritage Night at Dodger Stadium. Like, oh, shoot, we got to support.
I'm not Salvadoran, bro, and I wanted to go. If I wouldn't have my baby, because my son was born on Friday, I'm like, man, if I want to go.
Crazy. And I was like, oh, shoot. Like, that was one video I put out, like, just letting people know, like, this is happening. And
so then all the tickets got sold out. Everything was good.
That night, 50,000 people in attendance at Dodger Stadium, which is almost max capacity. I think 51,000 people is your max capacity.
No way.
All of the Salvadoran Heritage Night package, the tickets were sold out. Like, they just came in droves, right? Like, and the Dodgers the first year didn't put any money behind advertising. They said, "Oh, we're gonna do Salvadoran Heritage Night. We have a shirt, and this is it. It's on our website. Yeah, it's on our website. Get the word out."
You do a video and fucking it pops off,
blew up, right? And like, oh shoot! And so now they're doing it again for the second time, and yeah, it's crazy. This is this is Salvi brand, the El Salvador.
Right. Hey, I want one.
Yeah,
I want one. Where'd I get one?
But yeah, no, it's just I think as a group, Salvadoreños, we've been underrepresented. I think Latinos have been underrepresented in media. I think if Latinos have been underrepresented, Salvadoreños have been way underrepresented. So a lot of times we feel like, oh shoot, we're doing this, like hell yeah, I'm in, And so it's that sense of like, oh, I want to be included, I want to be represented.
How do you feel that with all this, like? How does the Latino movement make you feel with everything that's going on right now as a whole?
I think we're in a renaissance age with the Latino, in media. Even I saw the Hot Cheeto movie, right?
Oh my God, it's a dope ass movie.
It's great. I love it. And then I see one article on LA Times like just trashing it.
I know. I've seen that shit too.
And I was like, really? Do we need to trash it? Like, it's like I had read an article before that this movie if this movie did great, it would open up a lot of doors for Latino in media because they'll see that, okay, it works, let's do more, right? And so, what's her name? The director, ¿cómo se llama?
Eva
Longoria was saying like, hey, we really need support on this film because if this works, we get more opportunities, right? And so them trashing is like, why trash it? Like,
man, I chose to block out. I like that movie so much, and because my wife was like, oh, did you see the article? I said, I don't want to fucking pay attention to it. I don't believe nothing. I said, I'll watch it again, and then I watch it with my parents because because they were at my house again. I'm visiting my son, and I'm like, mírenla. And then like, pero no entendemos, pero pon subtitles.
Mírenla. But, I think as a Latino community, we're so diverse. We have so many unique stories, right? And I think even within Mexican culture, there's different, like subgroups, like Chicanos, right? Yeah. That's a whole different group. If you're Mexican, you lived in LA, you lived a whole different, experience,
Yeah.
And so I feel like that movie really showcased the LA Mexican culture, Chicano, even with the lowriders and all that stuff. And that's a whole subgroup. And when you show it to other Latinos, like, oh, well, that's not us. I'm like, but this is them. This is their experience.
There's so many subcultures under the Latino umbrella.
Yes, and we're so diverse.
Big time. And we have our cultures are so unique, and everything needs to be embraced.
Right. Latinos from LA are very different from Latinos in New York, right? And it's
absolutely.
Like, it's different times, and feel people like, oh, well, that's not us. Well, it's not representing all of it. It's representing this guy who lived in LA, right? Who did this thing. And
because at the end of the day, we're same, but different. It's like, dude, it's like we're still, the origin, I think, is still the same, but we just have different food. We speak the language a little bit differently, but essentially,
we're the same but different.
Yeah, like,
But I think when people understand that they're like, hey, you know what? These stories are very unique to very certain type of groups, and we're so diverse. We need to, like, okay, this is one story, let's bring out the next story, let's bring out the next, and showcase us.
And you're right, and I think that movie is going to open doors to see Salvadorian, Ecuadorian, like different type of stories.
Yeah, and we have so many stories that are like that look at the Tapatio guy, right? Like,
yeah.
Even some of the like the El Mágico, like his story, like coming up in soccer and like that stuff. Those stories need to be told. They're very unique experience, but they need to be told. And I feel like if we just give it a shot, even us as a group, like, okay, we'll give it a shot. Let's hear it out. I think
I agree with you.
So, and the power is within us, right? You're like, we're creators. You're creators.
Like,
we're creating,
and we got numbers.
We got numbers. Yes.
It's like, damn, who can really beat us? I don't know.
So I really think it's up to us. The creative groups. Like, okay, well, let's tell these stories. Let's put it out there. Let's tell our own stories. Let's share our content.
That's one of the biggest reasons why I started doing content. Because my wife she was like, what's the point of you knowing all this about real estate and how about investing if you're not sharing it with anybody?
Right. Yeah.
Aside from your agents. I said, you could speak to the masses, but you're choosing not to. And she walked away. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like,
boom, mic drop.
Yes, big time. And I'm just like, yeah, she has a point. I was like, and that's when I had spoke to Julian, and Julian was like, dude, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I'm like, all right. So I got it from this end. I'm getting it from this end. Let's go.
Let's do it.
I'm going to do it.
Let's do it. And that's
here I am a year later.
Look at just Latinos as a whole, right? When you look at what happened during the pandemic, businesses were shut down, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people stopped working, lost their jobs. The Latino group, they said, no, we're going to figure it out. And the Latino group made more money as a group during the pandemic because we're hustlers, right?
We can't just sit.
We're not
home.
Yeah, we're not going to pandemic.
Yeah.
Hay que ver
we're
cómo
gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think as a group, we're like that. We're like, we'll figure it out. We'll we're not just going to sit back, and we persevere. Even look at our parents, like, what they went through to come here, right? They're like, my parents were in El Salvador during the Civil War, and it was a dark time.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't, and they said, oh, well, that's it for us. No. We're going to figure out, we're going to find out where to go, cross 3 borders to get there.
Se cierra una puerta, se tiene que abrir otra.
Se tiene que abrir otra. And I think, you know, if we relate to like Latinos in media, I think right now the power is in our hands, right? We can create things, we can make things, and we have the platform to put it out. And I think it's up to us to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick up the camera. I'm gonna start creating. You know what? I'm gonna start singing the songs that I like. I'm gonna start doing the stuff that I want to do.
Now we're in that era where
the power is in our hands.
All you need is a phone. In reality,
yeah,
you don't need all these fancy cameras. Even though
my content is all shot on my phone. If I show you my phone right now, I have like 80,000 pieces of video in my phone.
All you need is a phone.
I edit on my phone. I shoot on my phone. I do everything on my phone, right? And you know, if you look at the numbers on social media, it's like we're getting numbers that are like, you know, network TV, right? If you compare like viewership, and I'm pulling that from my phone, right? Like I don't have a big studio like
crazy,
the
right?
WB or you know these.
None of that.
No, I'm doing it from my phone, but we're getting the same viewership as if we were on TV. And it's crazy to think, but really, like I said, the power is in our hands. It's in our pockets.
Dude,
and so
because I told my wife off like one of our reels almost got like 1 million views, and I'm like, you think so and so TV show got this type of views in 24 hours? I said, I don't know.
And it's crazy.
It's fucking insane. It's mind blowing.
It is mind blowing. That's what I'm saying. Like the power is in our hands to really put our stories out there, right? Like I had put out a video. I recorded my dad. I was just kind of pulling from him and say, hey, tell me the story when you guys, the Civil War, when you came. And he just started telling me, you know, what happened, what he saw. And it's kind of dark, you know, but he told me his story of how when they came. And I was like, man, this story needs to be told. So I just shared it, put it out there, and it's his immigrant story, right? And as a Salvadoreño, he's not so much an immigrant, he's a refugee, really, because he's fleeing a war to, you know, and so I put out there the Salvadoreño, a refugee story. Short clip, I think it's 1 minute and 40 seconds. Ton of views, both Instagram and TikTok, and it's like people are just related to it. Like, oh, my parents have a similar story. My parents have that story. My parents came at that time and they saw that. And it's like those stories are out there, right? Those stories need to be told. And we were able to tell that story with my phone and my social media. And
no fancy nothing.
No fancy nothing. It was just raw, just my dad talking, you know, hey, this is what I saw. This is what I went through. This is the times. And
people underestimate how powerful their phones and their platforms are.
Yeah. And now with TikTok, you don't need, you know, to have 1 million followers for your video to go viral. If it's engaging enough and it's a compelling story enough, it'll find its audience. You might have, you know, 50 followers, but that video will get 10 million views sometimes. And
crazy.
It can get out there. And so,
because people want to watch.
Yeah.
And then the algorithm goes bananas.
Right.
Because now they want people to stay on their platform. So if people are watching over a minute, they'll red flags everywhere. Boom, 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 boom.
But if you take, you know, our stories, and which are unique but relatable to a lot of people, I think, you know, those stories can be pushed out and can be told. And,
absolutely, man.
You know, and people can relate and see like, oh, shoot, you know, I wasn't the only one who went through that. I was, you know, other people went through that too. And it's
absolutely. And people need to hear it.
People need to hear it. Those stories need to be told.
And we need to wear our Salvi gear proud and our Mexican gear proud because you know what? Shit, we're in.
We're in it. We're here.
And we're here and we ain't going nowhere.
We ain't going nowhere. Aquí estamos.
Aquí estamos. So what's next for you, brother? You said you have we
have a comedy special, and then
I'm excited for that.
This Sunday we're gonna be at the Stand Up Comedy Club, and this is the first time a comedy club has allowed me to bring pupusas. Because a comedy club sells food.
Yeah, okay.
They sell their own food, and that's where they make the money. So it's a hard sell to say, hey, I want to bring my own food. And a lot of no's, right? They're like, oh, we can't do that. We sell our food. But the Stand Up Comedy Club, to their credit, said, you know, we'll shut down the kitchen, and you guys bring your food.
So then it's gonna be like the trucks.
We're gonna have Vicho's truck parked right outside the club, and you can get your pupusas, come eat it inside.
No way.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times.
Yeah. No, the stand-up club's a really nice club. It's set up for comedy. It's brand new.
And what time does it start?
This is a Sunday at 3 p.m. So it's like a brunch show. Yeah, and it's exciting. And then,
I'm gonna be there.
All right, ahí estamos.
I'm going. I want to eat like some bomb ass shit. Like I'm like
Vicho's comes prepared. Yeah. No, they have a lot of good food.
That's what's up. Well, I'll be there, and Bernie, I'm sure I could.
He wants pupusas. I see it in his eyes.
Bernie, you want pupusas, bro? Don't lie, dude. This is dope, man.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the house, Salvadorians and Mexicans supporting each other and doing our thing, and we can't wait for that special to come out.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be exciting when that drops. So, I purposely haven't put out a lot of my stand-up clips online, in English. I have a few clips, but I've been very reserved in keeping those jokes
because when it comes out,
I know people are gonna relate to it. Because just even doing the shows live, the energy from people like, oh, dude, that hit home. Like, I love it, you know. And so I know those clips, when those get out, I think people are gonna really connect with them. Up. And so I'm excited for that special because it's a very Salvi stand-up. The name of the name of the special is The Salvadorian.
No way. So it doesn't get more Salvadorian than that.
You can't get more Salvadorian than that. That's it. So yeah, it's a love letter to my Salvadoreños. So.
Oh man, that's what's up. I can't wait for it, man.
Yeah.
So. That's what's up. So Sunday we'll be there.
Sunday, and then
I'm gonna save my cheat meal for that day. I'm gonna have me
don't eat that day. Don't eat breakfast.
No, I'm gonna come hungry. And who else is gonna perform right there?
So we have Nelson is gonna be hosting it. Another Salvadoreño comedian. Trenton Stewart Jones, who's he's the black Mexican chente.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
He's going to be there?
He's going to be there. And then Walter Reyes. Yeah.
I know Walter.
Yeah, Walter.
I think he did real estate at some point, or he did something like in the industry or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's in the industry.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a funny guy. I've known him for years. And otro Salvadoreño that, we connected with. And,
all right, cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so then we'll be there for sure. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And hopefully after your special comes out, you could come back.
Oh, for sure.
We'll do it.
I know where you are now.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. You can stop by any time, but please bring pupusas.
Next time, I'm bringing pupusas.
Hell yeah. Okay, so the backyard, that's how you started in your mom's backyard, and you did comedy from the backyard.
Yeah, man.
But you dropped, was there like big names coming in, or who were you bringing in?
Oh, dude, it was every Latino comedian in the Latino circuit was probably doing it. We had Felipe Esparza was there.
No!
Yes, bro. He was there the day he won last stand-up comic. When he won the big thing. That night, he came through the backyard show. And we have this kind of cool picture. Because I had a step and repeat, right, in the backyard that I made out of paper. So, shit. And so it's this cool picture with Martin Rizzo, me, and Felipe Esparza, and I think Juan Garcia's in it too. And it's just us in the backyard about to hit the stage. Edwin San Juan had been there. I remember Dylan Garcia, who was on the Fluffy thing at the time. Alfred Robles was on. He was one of the,
Alfred was there too.
Alfred was one of the first guys to be on it. I have another picture of Alfred on there. Dude, Martin Rizzo. Who else was in there? Shoot, a lot of guys. Shivago.
Oh, you had a lot of
Yeah, no
shit.
Yeah, Roberto Rodriguez.
So you would just be like, "Hey, I'm having this thing right here.
So,
my mom's house. Come through." Like how?
So what happened was, I was already kind of in the Latino circuit, and I knew these guys. And so when we did the first show, I started spreading the word, like, "Hey, dude, I'm doing the show, in my backyard." And then the guys who did it first would tell these other guys, "Oh yeah, you got to do a show. It's pretty cool. He's got an audience," because people would come and they would pay to come and laugh. So we had a paid audience in the backyard. And to my cousin's credit, it was mostly them and their friends, because they all lived in the area and they rolled deep. And so they told their friends and their friends. And so they would come in and these guys would kill it. Like Edwin San Juan just destroyed the backyard. And my cousins loved him. Like, "Oh, that Filipino guy is hilarious, dude. You got to bring him back." And so, like, Eric Blake did a set there, and he just destroyed. And so word got out, and these comedians were like, oh, yeah, you got to do Jose's Backyard. And I started getting DMs from comedians out of state, like, hey, when do you book your backyard?
No fucking
I'll be in
way.
town this day. Yeah, no, it got crazy. Like, it was.
I thought it was just like, the homie here and my friend over here. Dude.
No, it was crazy. The amount of comedians that came through there, who just kind of came, did a set, and it was a paid spot. Like, so because I was selling tickets, I would the comedians would get paid.
Wow.
And so yeah, we had some top comedians coming through the backyard.
Straight out of Linwood.
Straight out of Linwood. Yeah. It was a hot show. And again, to my friend Juan's credit, every show was different. Every show had a big backdrop.
I can't wait to see those pictures.
Oh,
bro.
dude, when you see the picture, you're like, this is the backyard?
So it was like a thing.
I have one picture where Richard Villa is in the audience cracking up at the.
Oh, you gotta send me those. We gotta add them to the reels, bro.
Yeah. No, it's like,
shit.
I'm telling you, all these comedians, all these Latino comedians, like, oh yeah, you gotta do Jose's Backyard. It just became a thing, and so
Felipe Esparza.
Yeah.
He's funny too.
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, no, he's.
That's crazy. And everybody was hitting you up like, hey, have you booked for Saturday?
Yes, I'm telling you, it just word spread that it was, hey, this show is pretty cool, and so yeah, we had theater lights.
What's the most packed house that you had in a backyard?
175 people.
How do you fit? It's like 3 quinceañeras, bro.
Oh, dude, it was so. It's I don't know if I have the picture, but we had arranged seating where we had VIP area under a tent.
You guys did it. You guys
under
did
a
it
tent
right.
with tables.
VIP right here.
We had
extra pupusas in this one.
The middle section with all the seats. I had the back section, which was standing, like only because there was no room for chairs. The DJ, we had one point the DJ was on top of the stage. Like, you remember Living Color? Yeah. Where the DJ was like up here?
Oh my God.
So I'll tell you a quick story. My friend, Victor, he was DJing at the time. So he had all the equipment. And my friend Juan's like, oh, we should have the DJ up here, like on top of the stage. I'm like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. Let's do it. He built a scaffold. We put the DJ equipment up there, and we stuck him up there. And the show's like 2 hours long. And we kept giving him beer, but he had nowhere to pee. So he couldn't get off to go pee. So he was stuck up there. And so he said he was just peeing from the DJ booth while we're doing our set, and he's
just peeing on the side
because they couldn't see him, right? People only saw this part, and so he was up there just
filling up bottles like in Dumb and Dumber when he's like, hold this, boom. Oh, man.
Yeah, man,
that's crazy though.
Yeah, it was.
Like, now I got a visual on like how big this was.
Oh, it was huge. I think the most pupusas, and if you know anything about making pupusas, 2,000 pupusas is a lot. Like, and it's just my mom making them. So she made 2,000 pupusas in one night. Like, she was just cranking them out like this, dude. Nonstop. Yeah,
so pupusas are made a mano.
A mano. So the pupusa.
So okay, give me the pupusa. Let's dissect on what a pupusa is.
So a lot of times
for all our viewers.
Yeah, a lot of times people think pupusa it's just a masa con carne.
Yeah.
But the chicharrón process is a whole process, right? So, like, I'll tell you, my parents, it's a whole week's process for my parents to do a big batch. And so when we would do the shows, my dad would go get the el material, is what he calls it, for the chicharrón, which is the pork belly, right? And so then he would grill that in the oven and then redo it and re-grill it until it was crunchy. And then in el molino, he would crunch it a mano, because he didn't like the food processor. He said it has to be done by hand because it's a different consistency. And so he would do all that, like 40 or 50 pounds by hand, just grinding it until it got another consistency that he liked. Then it's pouring all the other ingredients, the tomato, el chile, la cebolla, y todo eso, los frijoles. And then the beans is another process because my mom, it's refried beans, but it's refried multiple times. And so until it gets this dry consistency.
Science.
Yeah, dude, it's a whole thing. And so it can't be just regular refried beans. It has to be a dry refried beans. So you have to refry it and refry it a lot of times. Then it's the cheese process, and the cheese is multiple cheeses. So to get that flavor, you need to combine different types of cheeses to get that cheesy flavor, that, you know, that cheesy taste. And so it's all that, prepping all that. And then you have to make the masa. And to make the masa, it's a whole nother process, because you got to get you got to get the right consistency to be able to pupusear, right? To tortear.
Oh, that's the thing, pupusear?
Yeah. So the consistency of the masa has to be right so they don't stick to your hands. So when you do the masa, it needs to, you know, flow nicely. It can't stick to your hands.
Man, this is a science.
So this large batch of masa has to be exact, because if it's too sticky, you're not going to be able to pupusear. You're not going to be able to tortear. And so it has to be to the right consistency. So once you have all that, right? And so when you think about large batches, especially like for restaurants, it's a whole process. After you have all that, then you got to cook it, right? So it's taking the masa, putting the food, the meat, and everything else, and then making it to a flat consistency where they're all the same, right? Because you don't want all them different shapes. The thing with masa, it's raw masa, so now you have to cook it on the grill. And it takes about, 10, 12, 15 minutes sometimes. And so that process can take a while. So when you go to a pupuseria and you're like, oh, I'm going to order dos revueltas, una de queso, and you're waiting 20 minutes.
Okay, but what's that? Dos revueltas. What does that mean?
So revuelta...
I'm learning. So when I go, I'm going to sound experienced.
So
dos revueltas con queso.
Loroco, con loroco.
Okay. I just want to know. I want to know.
Your revuelta is the pork belly, the chicharrón.
Okay.
With frijoles y queso. So it's the three mix, so revuelta.
Okay.
So it's a mix of those flavors.
And it comes with?
Curtido.
Okay.
We didn't even get to making curtido. That's a whole nother...
Oh, shit. That sounds complicated.
It's a whole other process. And so, yeah, because you got to let that... It's curtido, so you got to let that marinate in the... What is curtido? It's cabbage, carrots,
But is it in lemon?
No. So it's vinegar.
Oh, okay.
So you got to let it sit in vinegar.
Bro. We put
Yeah, no, it's vinagre. Okay. And so you got to let it sit so then, the cabbage soaks that in. And then, So the whole thing is a process to get to the pupusa making thing. Once you have all that, right, it's making it fresh. And then when they're made fresh, you got to wait for the masa to cook. And it's, it's a lot of masa on the pupusa, so you have to wait. So you're waiting 10, 15 minutes for your pupusas. And so these events, it's a science to be able to push out a lot of pupusas quickly. And so you'll notice that, like, Pupusa Fest, if you go, like, a lot of times there's a long line to get pupusas. It's a slow process.
Because it can't be like a McDonald's. Hey, I want 4 pupusas, boom, in 2 minutos. You're out of your way.
Yeah.
So it's like it takes time.
Yeah. And so what my mom, this is how genius my mom is. She goes, we're going to limit it. Revueltas de queso. That's it. I don't want, me da una de frijoles.
That's in and out status.
Yes.
The streets. Oh, she's smart.
It. She said, but I can't be taking too many orders from everybody. It's going to take forever. 2 flavors. Revuelta de queso. Which one you want? And so she would make a large batch of revueltas. So as people were coming in, deme dos revueltas, una de queso. My dad or my sisters would be moving the line along, right? My mom would just be making the chicharrón queso. And that's how we were able to move the pupusas quickly.
Which was your favorite?
Oh, the cheese one, because my mom's cheese mix is pretty unique. And then the revuelta, pero de arroz. So the arroz means the masa is a rice masa. And the way my mom makes it, it's usually crunchy. And so my mom's revuelta, pero de masa, and the cheese ones are my favorite.
Oh, man. Wow, that sounds so good, bro. So I can't wait till Sunday.
Yeah, no, Sunday's going to be
I'm at both.
De todo.
I'm going to try to get it. Whatever they have. I want to try them all.
Yeah. So, yeah, my mom had the in and out process.
It's just smart.
Keep the menu simple. Keep the line moving. Yeah, vamos. So that's the concept we're trying to have at the event. Is like, okay, let's minimize the menu so people get their food quickly. And yeah, man.
Do you guys have? I've seen your post where the guy said, "Es una enchilada," or he called it an enchilada. Salvadoreña.
There's a enchilada salvadoreña is different from the.
So how is it different from the enchilada from the Mexican one?
So the Mexican enchiladas are usually wrapped.
Yeah,
right?
wrapped and then dipped in sauce.
Yeah, the Salvadoran enchilada is like a
How
tostada.
DJ how Splice would say a wet enchilada, like dude, they're all wet.
So the Salvadoran enchilada is a tortilla, a Salvadoran tortilla, which is a little thicker than the regular ones, and it's on top, so it almost looks like a tostada, Mexican tostada with the meat, the cheese, the cabbage, and everything.
So it's not rolled.
It's not rolled.
But is it dipped in sauce?
No. So
Are they gonna have that on Sunday too?
No, they're not gonna have
Oh,
the
just
enchilada.
strictly pupusa?
Pupusa.
Look at me, bro. I'm trying to eat everything.
What we gotta try is the putacos.
What is that?
Oh, the putacos.
That's for real?
The putaco
Oh,
is real. Oh,
sick.
let me tell you let me tell you the story of putacos.
Oh, bro, that's the real thing. Okay, cool.
Sounds like putazos.
We're gonna have a bunch of putacos, not putazos.
These guys in San Francisco called Los Bayuncos. If you know what Bayuncos means, it means fools, right? Like fools. These fools created the pupusa taco, the putaco. And basically it's a pupusa with your revuelta, with everything in it, but with taco meat on top. So you have asada, adobada, with the salsa and everything else.
Creative ass dude.
So it's hefty, dude. It is con dos de esas, you're good. Because you got the meat and everything else, but you have the pupusa at the bottom. So it's the putaco. And so when I first heard about it, I was like, putaco, that's hilarious. I gotta have my dad go try this. It's like, putacos son los que te voy a dar yo.
So you gotta get it approved by your dad.
Yeah. Oh, and so I took my dad to go try them. He's like, oh no, these are really good. And he goes, and so we put the video out there and talk about, getting views. That view went crazy viral. I did another one because people were hating on it. Oh, you're ruining the pupusa, you're ruining the taco, leave it alone, And so
we're uniting. That's what we're doing.
We're uniting, And so I did one video where it showed a pupusa at the beginning, it showed the taco meat, and then it showed the putaco. And I put the Chente song, Si No Me Quieres, Pues Ni Modo. Very quick, I think it's like 10 seconds. Dude, that clip alone got somewhere like in the 40 millions. Like people started duetting it. People started sharing it. People started talking about it. Crazy viral. I'm talking like the masses, right? And so now cut to like the Salvadoran consulate, the government, right? And the Mexican consulate do an event together. They say, hey, we want putacos at our event. This is the Mexican government and the Salvadoran government. Yeah, we want putacos at our event. So Los Bayuncos shows up to the Mexican consulate serving putacos to the higher ups of the government.
Are you kidding?
And so putacos are a legit thing. They're accepted.
I gotta have some putacos, bro.
Yeah, dude, it is crazy. Like. It's it. They're here to stay. So for the haters, putacos are here to stay.
Can't get rid of them.
It's part of the culture.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
I got to have me a putaco. I got to have me a pupusa. What did you say? ¿Revuelta?
Revuelta, yeah.
A revuelta y de queso. Y...
Salvadoran enchilada.
Man, I'm so hungry. Oh man, so this is all new to me, bro. This is like I've never heard of a putaco. I mean, I would think that somebody would come up with it because it's the pupusa represents your most famous dish, right?
Yeah,
That's what you guys are known for.
That's our.
That's it. It's like a signature. Like you're Salvadoran, oh, you like pupusas. You're Mexican, you like
tacos, right? So now we have
putacos.
This is the Putaco podcast edition con salvadoreños y mexicanos.
Man. And they're only do they serve that anywhere here?
So those guys are based in San Francisco, but they travel everywhere doing. So I've had them at the show. So we've done Pupusas Comedy Beer with Putacos, and they've come out here, and they were just here at the consulate.
No way.
I'm telling you.
Ah, okay.
Worldwide. These guys went worldwide. Like they just now, like there's people in Australia making them. There's people in Canada making them. In El Salvador, they're a thing. So they've gone worldwide.
Deme 5 putacos. Ay, wait.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
So, La Vala is a drink that was created by Roxanne's Bar in Long Beach. So we had Comedy Pupusas and Beer. So Salvador's, we have what's called Cola Champan, which is like a cream soda.
Okay.
That's like our soda. That's our signature soda, right? And so
It's called what again?
Cola Champan.
Cola Champan?
Cola Champan.
Okay, cool.
So Rob at Roxanne's, he's a distiller. He makes vodka. He makes whiskey. And so he makes it in Long Beach. Salvadoreño también, a distiller.
No
making
way.
whiskey and vodka. He has a vodka called Long Beach Water. It's like 90% proof. Yeah.
So one shot, you're done.
Dude, that stuff is legit. So he's like, I'm gonna mix it with the Cola Champan for the comedy shows. I'm gonna call it La Vala. Dude, that thing. So the Cola Champan is sweet. So he added some lime and the vodka that he has. Dude, that thing. People were just buying it left and right. I think I had like 4 or 5 of them. I was gone. Gone. I didn't even feel it. Like, I was like, oh, this thing is good.
Yeah, 10 minutes later.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shoot, I still got a host. I got to do a set. It was crazy good. Like, yeah, it's.
And it's just the vodka with the soda.
Yeah. The vodka, La Vala.
Damn.
Cola Champan with vodka.
Bro, you're leaving me without. I'm about to like try that. I'm not a big drinker, but I'll try it. I like to eat.
Yeah, if you like to eat, that's we got a lot of good
this
food.
Is dope, man.
Dangerous. Yeah.
2, just 2, porque luego me voy a poner. I'm gonna get sleepy.
Yeah, their vodka is no joke, man. Their vodka is
wow,
smooth.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is dope. I'm glad we added this. So, man. No, but this is good. People need to hear this.
Yeah. No,
people need to hear the stories. People need to know that our culture is nothing to be ashamed of, that we're proud of where we come from. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't appreciate my mom's home cooking the way I do now. Because I would see the other kids in school, I get fucking pizza, hamburgers, and I wanted
McDonald's. I want to go to McDonald's.
I wanted that, bro.
Yeah.
And now looking back at it, I'm like,
We're
hell
blessed.
no.
We were blessed, man.
Man, carne chile. Like, I have home cooked meals, bro.
I remember my mom making carne guisada, right? Like with the potatoes. I would like come home like, oh, we're having carne guisada. Like I would hate it. Like, I don't want to eat that. I want something else, right?
I want a number 1 from McDonald's.
Yeah, now when my mom makes carne guisada. Oh, you make carne guisada? make sure you give me a plate.
Man, anything that my mom makes, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's growing up.
We don't appreciate it growing up.
Yeah, because then you want to be like your friends. Oh, dude, let's eat a pizza. Let's eat a hamburger. Let's eat this. And it's like, pero hay comida en la casa.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, no, pero quiero esto. Now, shit. ¿Me hiciste comer?
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah. ¿Tiene comida más?
Sí, and boom.
Ahorita paso.
Yeah, like to go. Fuck it. But hey, thank you so much, brother, for stopping by, man.
Thank you.
And we really do appreciate it. We had great conversations, and
awesome. I love it.
And I know people want to hear from our cultures and from our upbringing. And our audience is always going to get some good nuggets.
Yeah. And,
you know,
and you made me tear up. I mean,
you know,
I didn't know we were going to get so deep. This is a therapy session.
Dude, I feel like it sometimes. You know, I've been blessed. I always say this, to have great people on here. You know, and sometimes it feels like a fucking therapy session. Like,
just
man, because we have so many similarities that it's like, oh, you too? Oh,
yeah,
me too.
Yeah.
You know, you start feeling like, oh, shit, I thought I was the only one. No, it's not. And we're, you know, same, but different.
Same, but different.
But we're all Latinos and we're here to support each other.
That's it.
You know, and I'll be there Sunday to eat some pupusas, brother.
Ahí estamos.
Thank you so much for stopping by, man.
Thank you, man.
Boom.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Man, you got me hungry.
The Hustle Podcast.